I gotta get your phone number before we leave because Greg wants it.
Who does?
Greg.
I've got a couple options.
Yeah.
I thought he had it. I thought he had it.
We both get new phones and lose all of our stuff.
All right, it's 6:30. We're gonna open the meeting with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna do a roll call. Amy Casebeer,
Here.
Bob Curry,
Here.
Robin Cooper, Bill Purcell,
Here.
Kenneth Sebastian,
Here.
Norm Warner,
Here.
Ernie Default,
Here.
Donna McIntyre, Mike Swafford.
Here.
Okay. So the next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes, which I do have on the screen here. If anyone wants, basically it was our December 21st meeting where it was just to set the agenda for this year, so.
I move we approve. Second.
Okay. Okay. And Curry's, you seconded?
Yes, second.
Okay. And vote,
So.
okay, alright. Alright, now on to the reorganization. Do we have any nominations for president?
I nominate Norm Warner.
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Okay. Alright, all in favor?
So.
Alright.
Same.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's all yours.
Thank you very much, guys, for the vote of confidence.
You're welcome.
I will entertain a motion, for the election of a vice president.
Not here.
Who was the second one?
I'll make a motion that we nominate Mike Swafford as vice president. If you will accept.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
7. Okay, we are going to reorder the agenda, just so everyone knows. Marcy King's here with the Chamber of Commerce, to talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan. And so I'm gonna have her to skip ahead of the BWS, real estate. Marcy, if you could come up.
Thank you. I want to take about 5 minutes. Just wanted to come before you today to let you know that we are fully moving forward with our comprehensive plan. We began in December with our first steering committee. Both Robin and Norm are on that steering committee. We met again this last month, and we will be meeting every single month. The goal is to have our comprehensive plan to Okra by July, and for them to go ahead and approve that plan for us to move forward. The comprehensive plan just overall covers a plan for Owen County for the next 10 years, and there's all these different arms that are underneath it. Land use, broadband, housing, all these different elements. And all the individuals that are on the steering committee are from different aspects and different areas of Owen County and different demographics, just trying to get as many people and public input as possible. In fact, right now, anyone in this room can go to the Owen County Chamber of Commerce website page, and there's a public survey, which I would go ahead and encourage all of you to do, so that we can go ahead and have your feedback for this comprehensive plan. But tonight, what I'd like to do really quick is it's super important that you understand that because development is happening so quickly in Owen County, that with this comprehensive plan, we are actually doing two things simultaneously. Usually a comprehensive plan is put into place, and then once that plan is in place, there's ordinances and policies that go before the planning commission, and then we go through the ordinances and policies. But instead, what we're doing is we're doing this simultaneously, so we're actually going ahead and creating some ordinances and policies to put before you throughout this process. That way in July, we can go ahead and initiate those policies and ordinances. So there's an education element to this, which is very key. And so for that matter, I need to have all of the planning commission attend a workshop, which I will bribe you with food if I need to do that. But it was suggested to me by Suzanne that on the February 15th date, there is currently nothing on your agenda. So I would like to formally request that if you could please earmark the February 15th date for a comprehensive planning workshop that will last about an hour and a half, and we can have it right here in this room. And then there would need to be a second workshop before this comprehensive plan is completed, and I would like to request that the June 21st meeting that you all have also be allocated for a workshop. And that would conclude that part of the comprehensive agenda.
You said June 22nd?
February 15th and June 21st.
21st. And public's invited both of those as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As well as I'll be inviting the rest of the county officials.
So I have a question. If we get something where we've got a whole bunch of stuff on our agenda for June, we
may
postpone some people or cut her. So can we have a special meeting if we have to for this? We'd have to advertise it, but we would know in advance whether there's anything fine.
Most of your,
Shortchange her or someone else.
Right.
most of your meetings, by the time we have a meeting the previous month, I'll know by that point if we have anything, because the deadline hits before that date. So it should
I'm saying if we find out in May that we've got a heavy agenda in June.
right.
I would, we want to service Owen County first. No offense.
Absolutely.
So if we have a June agenda that's lengthy or anything at all really, then we'll just have to push, either get a special meeting date or push to the following month, one or the other. Is everybody okay with that?
My only request is that that workshop be completed before we turn in the comprehensive plan to Okra at the end of July.
At the end of July. Okay, well, we will squeeze a meeting in if we need to.
Okay?
And we'll see we won't know until probably May.
Sure.
For sure. All right, no action needed by the board, I don't believe. Are you finished?
Yeah, just want to know if I can go ahead and put that together.
Yeah, you go ahead and put those dates down. That second date will be tentative upon what our agenda has in store for us. And then if we have to move it, we'll move the date. I don't know, we'd have to move it later because of advertising, correct?
Yeah.
So it'd have to be that following week, probably. We'll have to see what everybody else that has this room has in store for them, and then we can move forward and get you a hard date on that one,
Okay?
okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Unfortunately, it will be probably May before we know.
No, I understand. I appreciate it, thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. Okay, follow on with new business. BWS Real Estate LLC for a rezone from commercial to heavy industrial. You guys would appreciate it. And if you allow me to go through our steps here that we have to follow, go ahead and have a seat, or you can stand if you'd like.
Yeah.
No problem. Who we seeing? So, this is, BWS Real Estate. Can you state your names for the record?
Yeah, Jason Vegans.
Jamie Fagans.
Renee Lloyd.
Renee what?
Lloyd.
Lloyd. Okay, so these requests are typically termed amendments to the zoning map or a rezone, and these consideration requests to the Plan Commission, they shall pay reasonable regard to the following: the comprehensive plan, current conditions and character of the current structures and uses of each district, the most desirable use of which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction, and responsible development and growth. The Plan Commission hearing pursuant to Indiana Code 336-7-6-604 before the Plan Commission certifies a proposal to the legislative body, that being the commissioners. The Plan Commission must hold a public hearing, which we're doing tonight. The Plan Commission shall give notice of the hearing by publication under the notice, under IC 5-3-1. The notice must state the time and place of the hearing. Did that go out at the proper time?
Yes.
Geographical area that is subject to the zone map change. This notice does not require identification of any real property by meters and bounds. A description of the proposed change in the zone maps. A place where a copy of the proposal is on file for examination before the hearing, and that was in
Yes.
notification, please, right?
Yes.
That written objections to the proposal are filed with the secretary of the commission before the hearing will be considered. Was there any complaints filed? That oral comments concerning the proposal will be heard, and that's what we're here for tonight. And that the hearing may be continued from time to time as may be found necessary. Due notice. The Plan Commission shall also provide for due notice to interested parties at least 10 days before the date of the hearing. Owners of real estate property in a depth of 2 ownerships or 1/8 of a mile into the adjacent county, whichever is less, is considered interested parties and must receive notice. Did all the adjacent property owners receive notice?
Yes.
Okay. And hearing must be held by the Plan Commission at a place stated in the notice, which was the courthouse. The files of the Plan Commission concerning proposal are public record and shall be kept available in the Commission's office for inspection for any persons. Pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4-605, a proposal to change the zone maps may be certified with 1, a favorable recommendation, an unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation from this body. The legislative body shall consider the recommendation, if any, of the Plan Commission before acting on the proposal. So that's a long way of saying tonight we will either give you a favorable, unfavorable, and then it will go, or no recommendation, then it will go to the commissioners for final approval. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Jim, does that cover us?
Yeah, that covers all the
Okay.
procedures.
All right. So, proceed.
Okay,
Yes,
so,
I'm sorry. Huh?
Rather turn the camera down so they can see it on YouTube,
Oh,
who's talking,
okay.
pointing way up here to us. You can get down over the table.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
okay, so, I'm Jason Fagans, I'm the owner of Blackwood Solutions. This is my wife Jamie, she owns BWS Real Estate, and this is Renee Lloyd with Vet Environmental. So, what we do for a living is we recycle utility poles for utilities all over America, and we have a handful of wood recycling yards. So the first question we always get is, what does recycle utility poles mean? And about 60% of what we do is we collect them from the utilities and we give them to farmers for free fence posts. So we do that. Most of those go straight from when we pick it up till we deliver a farmer a semi-load of fence posts for free, compliments of Duke Energy. That's about 60% of our volume. That leaves about 40%, which is kind of the rotten junk that doesn't have use as a fence post. And what we do on this particular property is we bring the poles back there. There will still be a few fence posts that we'll sort out and give away to anybody that shows up and wants fence posts. The remainder of them, we shred them and it gets used as a alternative to gravel at the landfill in Medora, Indiana. So that's kind of our accumulation yard. The reason we're here is poor assumptions on my part and a change of combined with the change of process. So we bought this property. Didn't do my homework well enough. I thought we were in an industrial park and our zoning was all good. We talked to IDEM. IDEM gave us permission to do what we're doing. We had a change in process in the last year where we went from having a skid loader chop up poles with a wood shear, which, is allowed with no IDM permit, to mechanizing a little faster with a shredder. IDM decided that because we're shredding, it's now a waste processing yard, even though it's not waste, it's a recycled product. So, that led to needing to get a waste processing permit, investigating into the zoning, and we went, oh, we're commercial, not industrial, we need to be industrial. So that's the long story of how we got here. Nothing is changing about, we've been operating there for, I think 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. So nothing is changing about the way that we're operating. We get along well with the neighbors that we know and haven't heard from any others, so asking for that to rezone. I believe this property had been industrial at one time. Propane company was located there. This is me talking to the neighbors and trying to figure out why we're not industrial. I think the propane company had some retail business going on, so they had got a commercial rezone. So we're asking to go back to what it was before it was from industrial back to commercial.
Anybody got any questions for them?
I do have copies of what Bet has prepared for Blackwood, which is an operations plan to basically submit to IDEM the solid waste processing facility permit. It's under review right now, so it is subject to change if they ask for more detail about certain things. I only have 4 copies.
Do we have a copy of that in your office?
No.
No, and yeah, they are long documents, because we have both the operations plan for the solid waste, issue, and then we also, on top of that, as an extra step, Blackwood is doing a stormwater pollution prevention plan. So they'll be doing annual stormwater sampling at the site, and we have that plan as well. So if I could get an email address, I could just send you the whole.
Yeah, I'll give you.
Okay, is it just the same one that
Yeah.
we communicated?
As long as we have it on file in her office, then it's
Okay.
public record. Anyway, we'll get-
We have had
Copies?
I'll take a copy.
We have had a couple meetings with IDM. We have, no reason to think that, they're not gonna rubber stamp our permit. That's the indication they've given us.
And you probably don't have this, but you have a tentative date of when they would approve this? You have any idea what?
IDM,
Yeah.
they had told it to started in the fall, and they said about a year, is that right?
Yeah, they said the normal processing time to actually approve a permit is.
We have permission to operate because we're in a gray area for sure. So they agreed that because we're in a gray area, they came out, looked at everything we're doing and say, we're giving you permission to keep operating. It's a conditional, we have permission to keep operating until the permit's in place, so.
And that was started last fall?
It started, fall of, September
Yeah,
of
September we met with them in person. Yeah, it doesn't fit squarely into the definition of a solid waste processing facility, because it's really more of a,
It's a wood recycling yard.
yeah.
We're a lot closer to the mulch guys all around us than we are waste. But we're in this weird category that doesn't fit well.
But the plan addresses noise, odor, dust, and then the stormwater plan addresses any potential issues with stormwater. That'll be detected in the annual sampling.
For the Criso or anything on that?
Criso.
Yeah. There's a plan in there for that, I guess.
Well, it is, creosote, the required testing for creosote is TCLP, which stands for.
Toxicity characteristic leaching procedure.
Yeah, so that's a measure of, does this leach into the water?
Right.
And creosote does not. It's not a leaching chemical. It's organic and it breaks down rapidly. So that's why you can have a creosote utility pole in your front yard and it doesn't contaminate your soil all around. And the same reason that railroad ties are not a concern for waterways. It's not a leaching chemical.
But we'll be doing the annual TCLP TCLP procedure, it just.
Will anybody locally be notified when you, let's say a year out, they do their testing? Will we get any kind of indication of what that testing came back, how that turned out? If you're still good, in other words,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's,
the local,
anything with IDEM eventually becomes public record, so it's a matter of when they publish it on their virtual filing
We're
cabinet.
happy to submit it. So creosote treated wood, has been the same for 110 years or something like that. So when you test creosote treated wood, we've tested it 20 times, you know. The T-clip results are consistent over and over and over and over. So it would be very strange to have a surprise. So we have those results we can give you now. We're happy to, each year as we test, submit them.
and I would like to have them on record in her office, just in case anyone would ever ask.
Certainly.
Anything else?
And then we would send you the final permit, of course.
Yeah, we'd have to have that on file too. So anything else from you guys?
I think so.
Okay.
Any questions?
Anything, Ernie?
No, you're right. Good.
Good?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good explanation.
So, yeah, now I'm gonna give an opportunity to the public that's here. Does anyone wanna speak on this petition before we move on it? All right, seeing nobody, I'd entertain a motion.
I've got one question.
Oh, okay.
On their emergency control information here.
Yep.
For police, it says Spencer Police Department. How come they're out there on 43? How come Spencer Police?
And that would be Owen County.
Page
believe.
13.
Yeah.
Page 13.
Adjust that.
We'll need to amend that to say Owen County before we get the final copy into the commission office. Good catch,
Huh?
good catch.
Thank you.
My only concern is you guys are doing that, but I wish there's a way to kind of dress up the place a little. I mean, I know it's hard to do, but.
Yeah, give me some examples. I know we could do better at mowing. What would you like to see?
I don't know, it just kind of looks like a pre-sold junkyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could chain link fence along the front to kind of hid that or something.
Okay.
Just for the aesthetic value, there's some land that's gonna be developed in that area,
Okay.
residential, and you could just dress it up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, we
That's
can do
my
that.
concern.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we accept their application with the amendment to the emergency.
So Mike's offering motion with the given amendments, Owen County Sheriff's Department and some sort of visual barrier between that and 43. Do I hear a second? Second by Rob Curry. Bob Curry. All in favor? 7-0. You voting, Bill, or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone voted for you. Oh, yes, I'm voting for it.
All right, 7-0.
Norm, just for procedures, if I may.
Yes, sir.
You'll need to get the template for your ordinance. An ordinance will actually now go before the plan commission. It will be impossible for it to be on the 7th. There will not be enough time. So the earliest meeting would be February 21st, and it could go before the Board of Commissioners. The plan commission director then will do the certification as far as this will be passed with a favorable recommendation. So that paperwork is responsible of the plan commission. They'll have to have that. They will need to the auditor, they will need the actual ordinance to the auditor prior to the February 21st meeting. This, although it was voted favorably 7-0, this is just an advisory committee. They have no authority to grant or not grant. So it would go before the commissioners, then they will make the determination to either grant it or not to grant it. And if it's done, then that ordinance will be published, and then that will be the end of the rezoning.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, next item on the new business. Kevin Cooper. Kevin, come on up. Rezone from agricultural to single-family residential. Suzanne, can we get that brought up? State your name and then proceed.
Yep, my name is Kevin Cooper, and my purpose here tonight is I bought 14.2 acres across from Rolling Meadows Golf Course between Rolling Meadows Subdivision 1 and 2, and would like to get the process started to change this from agricultural ground to residential, with the hopes to continue and develop that area between the two divisions and further the process with developing that ground. So, yeah. Any questions?
You can put those power lines on there, please.
How many houses are you talking about, Kevin?
Well, I mean, obviously with 14 acres, the maximum number of single acre lots would be 14, but that's obviously not going to happen. We have power lines that run through there in an angle, we have sinkholes, so we'd like to maximize that number, but at the same time do our due diligence to allow the engineers and the water retentions or water runoff situations to do their part as well. So I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, we have 11.
How many?
11.
So are these cut up into 1 acre lots?
On there, they're approximately 1 acre. We've not, I mean, I guess it's kind of a catch-22 in my eyes. I didn't want to get too far ahead of the horse and do all the work to divide this out and then not get the approval. But I wanted to have some idea of what we're looking at to bring before you guys tonight. So, yeah, we're gonna get everything surveyed out and there'll be 1+ acres, what I was under the understanding we had to be, so.
Yes, minimum of 1.01 so that you got room for septic.
Right.
You're gonna have a problem with those 3 lots right there at the turn, south of that turn, would it be south? Yeah, those 3 right there, there's not enough room in there to build a house on either side, I don't think. You gotta be 75 feet off of the big power line, and currently it's 75 feet off the roadway, right? Which, I don't know that there's enough room in there, Kevin. I don't know what you're gonna do with those 3 lots, is my point.
And the east-west lot at this point, I mean, the east-west roadway, was put in to try to break up the contour at this point. I mean, if it's gotta move slightly, obviously that's the cheapest portion to move. The north-south roadways are pretty expensive to put in. Yeah, obviously, like I say, we got some work to do. There's sinkholes and water runoffs that also go down through there. It's a pretty steep slope, and as some of these individuals can attest, water goes back there quite a bit. So it's not my intention to create problems. It's I mean, like I say, the due diligence portion of this is to meet, maximize without hindering anyone, so. I tell everyone, with transparency, I don't plan to live here, and, so I don't wanna leave this in worse shape than when I found it, because it's easy for me to walk away, so I'm not gonna walk in here and tear up these people's lifestyles and then walk away, so.
So you haven't done a drainage study?
No, drainage studies still come.
So really what you're looking at is rezoning to residential tonight, but we don't have a final plat per se. We've got what's here. And we know some of these won't work, so our rezone is on the whole 14 acres though, irrelevant of the of what you got right now. We'd have to see a plan obviously before we could know what we're looking at.
Yeah, just a correction, it's only on the 12 acres, cause the 1.5 acres to the north is already residential. So there's there's two pieces there.
Okay.
So 12 acres, I think it's 12.5 acres is on this piece, and then there's 1.5, and it's already residential at the back.
So what does that include on this map?
So these lines actually include both parcels right now, but if you go to the north here, I'll pull it to the north here, you'll see that yellow line right there is where the parcels split into two pieces. So anything from here down is that 12 acres.
So from there up's already residential?
Yeah, everything above that, this
Red
line
line.
right here is residential, so that 1.5 acres.
Next lot of yours is already residential?
I guess one of my concerns, and I said this whenever all come in and change it from residential to agriculture, this stuff is jumping in and out. You know, I think this is the same property that was residential, and oh, I'm gonna farm it, which lowers the taxes, now all of a sudden development, now we're gonna develop it. You didn't do that, but you know, jumping in and out, this bugs me.
I've been referenced this with him a lot lately, and I assure you, I've been, Susan had informed me of that the other day, and that's the first time I was made aware of that comment, so.
Cause I even said when we did it, we're not changing it back, you know,
Yeah.
decide what you're gonna do with this.
Anything else, Kevin?
Not unless you guys have any questions for me, Greg.
What's your, when you say connect phase 1 and 2 on your application, what's your definition?
Just the flow of housing through there. Yeah, there'll be no, at this point, there'd be no road connections between them, in terms of, road touching road. Now, the roadway is an easement for, properties that are in phase 2 at this point. But as far as the connection of 1, that is no longer the intention, so.
So, I think in order for you to even do any of that, you have to replat the whole area, both phase 1, phase 2, and then yours will all have to be replatted. If you connect the
If they
roads
connect,
together.
right, no, that makes sense.
And you would have to
Right,
get
yeah.
approval of all your property owners.
The talks earlier in the game was to do that, with the intention that I thought this was the idea that the people wanted, and, once understand that that's not the situation, then by all means. Plus, I mean, not to say it up here and sound tight or frugal, but, it's cheaper not to for me in the development process as well, so.
I don't know, I think maybe phase 2 is over there, that road, why you couldn't connect that to the houses?
Mr. Hobbs had put the road in to get it in there, and it runs out of his property to continue it, so, we brought it in to tie it together in the back to where they would be, if you look up on your screen, they'll go front to front on that top half of that, and then below that roadway, they'll go back to back, as opposed to, that's why
You're
that.
talking about below the crossing road?
Yes.
The west road?
You've already, so the board, you've already put your road in.
There's a driveway that runs back there at this point, yes, to connect those lots 9 through 13 on Rolling Meadows 2.
If there's a plan of using that road in your subdivision there.
Yes, sir.
So to make it clear though, you may have some problems with that if your engineer says so.
If they have to be moved, we'll have to adjust, correct?
Are you gonna leave that paved when you're done?
That's my intention, is to pave it as quickly as possible, that way, because if you've been back there, there's plenty of dust and mud that comes from that road during the construction process. Just as with 1, I've developed some houses on Rolling Meadows 1, and there was an unfinished portion of that road, and then we added on to it, and there was it's kind of a he said, she said type of deal. And it's always been my intention to get together with those homeowners and better that road together. I do my part, they do theirs. And then on this Rolling Meadows 3, I call it Rolling Meadows 3 still, but we'll put the blacktop in as quickly as possible, the base coat, so that we can use that construction process and not have to keep spending money on gravel.
Is there, and I was out there the other day, looking at this part, is there a problem currently with water on any of that road going back in there?
On the road at this point, Tom's on the low side of it. I mean, it's gotta be built up a little bit more, as soon as we can get dry enough weather.
Where is that at, Kevin?
It's, if you're looking at the screen now, it's on the bottom left of the green line. That's the lowest.
Down here?
Yep.
Here, right in there?
And it's, the problem is we had, a truss delivery truck, a truss delivery truck came through there and cut the corner to tight and cut out the ditch to where the water's not running off the road right now. With the ground being frozen, it's impossible to get that back in shape until we can get some dry dirt. But, at the time when we put that in, things worked well for the first rain, I guess, and then we got some work to do. But ditches have been put for the time being on both sides of the road, which as soon as we can get into grass growing weather, we got the straw mat and grass seed to go down on it, and the portion that was done first already has grass growing on it, so it's it's not our job.
We're gonna bring their water back toward Mount Carmel?
From the power line, which is on your, it goes north off of Mount Carmel, and it goes straight up there and it makes a 90 to the left.
Right.
There's a power pole there. From that point towards Mount Carmel, it will run towards Mount Carmel. And then when you make that 90 to the left and you go up there and make a 90 back, it's got about 15, 20 feet of watershed that'll run through a culvert under there. But then everything else goes north, which is the natural flow of water that goes downhill going to the north. Now, again, the drainage plan will dictate what we'll be doing for the entirety of this project, but that's where we are at this point.
Of course, it's not your problem, but the county ditch is adequate, which it's, I mean, it's really adequate.
We
to
as you,
take care of any of that water.
right, as you saw, we was quick to try to dig some of that out because it was a mess.
It's just not gonna, the county ditch is not there to.
Mr. Melton kind of worked with our excavator and they came up with a slight plan to make a quick remedy on that and it seemed to help, but I mean, there's obviously some shaping and work to be done. So.
Well, Greg, since you're here, I'll pick on you. You've been out there, we've both been out there to that road a couple of different places. And I know Foster Farms is just right there as well. Are we gonna run into an issue, or make the problem worse down on Concord, do you think, with this? I mean, it's not a whole lot of property, but there's more property there that also feeds into that.
Well, I'd have to see the engineering to know, in the last plan, there was an agreement to put in a retention pond to slow the water, prior to Concord Road.
Yeah, and that's on that other piece of property, that's on
the other piece of property.
Foster Farm,
I was trying to figure out exactly where this lays. Now, when we talk about, and I heard, Mr. Swafford talk about the county ditches on, Mount Carmel, there is a problem, that when the addition was put in, there must have not been any planning at all.
No, probably not.
Because there is a problem with the county ditch, but if I go out there with the proper county ditch in, then I'm gonna drain it right straight into somebody's pond. And we had many, many complaints about that pond issue. I've been out there with, presidents, I've been out there with, President of the board, Jeff Brothers, when he was on. I was out there with my liaison, Steve Williamson. I've been out there with Commissioner Burton. Anything that you do on that ditch is going to come across that road and go into the pond on the other side. That's the natural flow of the water.
Are we talking down on Concord?
No, I'm talking on Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel, okay.
On Concord. Kirkmeyer. The Concord issue, I believe, was solved with the retention pond that was agreed upon by this board.
Yes.
I would have to see the engineering where it flows into that, but it's something that I would like to know quite soon, because Concord Road will be paved this year.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. The plans are in place, probably sometime, I mean, it'll be later year, but I think we're gonna try to schedule it October-ish, late in the year, so whatever we do, I would like to know if the plans, Mr. Hall, correct? Hobbs, Mr. Hall.
Oh, I didn't even see you back there.
He had the plans,
Right.
agreed to the retention pond, that slowed everything down
Right,
before it got to the road.
and that's gonna be the first thing you do, right? Because that's what we said in our meeting.
Engineer drainage plan, I actually just turned in an updated version, turned to Suzanne today, and I emailed, a digital copy.
Well, sorry, we're kind of drifting here, but we've got several things tied together.
These gentlemen contacted us and will cooperate in any way. But we have a real concern on Mount Carmel, if anything's going from there, because we can't put any more water on the other person's property or
It goes right down Mount Carmel, down that hill, and empties into a drain that goes under the road and goes right on the Kurt's property.
That's correct.
That pond was put in for that reason. There was never a pond there 10 years ago.
Well, I kind of grew up around here, and I remember, and it might not be in the same spot, but David Rush did have a pond there in that location. I don't know if.
Right, but it wasn't where it's at now.
But there was a pond right there in that general location.
I agree with you.
I would have to look and see.
Where is that on here, guys? Just so I know where the pond is.
Right here.
Is it this one?
Within the last 10 years, it hasn't been
It
completely.
goes downhill,
Okay.
all goes right straight down. Kurt's got it right there.
You can kind of see the drainway right here.
Yeah, I see it there.
And then the next thing, we've got a county pipe coming out of that addition. That sometime, that it goes right straight in to the county pipe that goes across the road. That cannot be there. It's gonna be cut, so we could have a ditch, so our ditch water could get down to there too. I don't know who put it in, but it's gonna have to come.
Is that along Mount? Where's that?
Across that pond. That pond that sits down in there,
Right across where Dave Rudge lived.
You come up, you go.
So,
Right here.
any other water, we can't get it, any other water can't get into that pipe.
And that pipe, I mean, once it gets down there, then it goes uphill. So I don't know where it goes to, you cut the pipe.
You can see where it comes from there to
So that pipe's coming out?
Oh, it comes out on the
I
other
mean,
side of the
it's
road.
gonna be
There's
removed.
on the other side, but it can't, we have to have a place, I mean, it's like Mr. Swafford said, there's no ditches, well, where does the water go at this time?
Right.
Well, now, the water's, you can tell there's a been a drain out in the center of the addition at some time that comes into the county pipe. That is gonna have some kind of a catch pond there, and then a ditch put to that.
So it's out in where the houses are? What's connecting to it, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, cause right there's the
And
ditch.
I invite you to come look at it with me.
Yeah, we probably need to go out there. I'm assuming that this addition you were talking about that was done before planning and zoning?
This comes from an addition that's existed for a while.
Oh, that's in phase one, but it was brought before the planning commission
It was.
back then.
There is a lot of water on that property. Anybody else on the board got anything? Before we open it up for public? All right, Kevin, thank you. Okay, we have anyone, let's go in favor first, that would like to speak in favor? I will need to go through the same thing I just went through again, sorry, but that's, legally, we have to do that, so let me do that, and then we'll bring up public comments. Planning meeting, there will be 2 requests for rezoning. This is the second one. These requests are typically termed amendments to the zoning map, rezoning, and consideration request. The planning commission shall pay reasonable regard to the following: the comprehensive plan, current conditions and character of the current structures and use in each district, the most desirable use of which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction, responsible development and growth. The Plan Commission hearing pursuant to IC 36-7 6-204, before a plan commission certifies a proposal to the legislative body, that being the commissioners, the plan commission must hold a public hearing, which we're doing tonight. The plan commission shall give notice of the hearing by publication under IC 5-3-1, and that notice went.
Yes.
Time and place of the hearing, geographical area that the subject to the zone map change. This notice does not require the identification of any real property by meets and bounds. A description of proposed change in the zone maps. Place where a copy of the proposal is on file for examination before the hearing, and that would be your office.
Yes.
That written objections to this proposal that are filed with the secretary of the commission before the hearing will be considered. Do we have any written?
No.
Okay. That oral comments concerning the proposal will be heard, which we're getting ready to do, and that the hearing may be continued from time to time as may be found necessary. Due notice, interested parties. The plan commission shall also provide for due notice to interested parties at least 10 days before the date set for the hearing, owners of real property to a depth of 2 ownerships or 1/8 mile into an adjacent county, whichever is less, are considered interested parties and must receive notice. Did those notices go to the adjacent property owners? Okay. The hearing must be held by the plan commission at the place stated in the notice, which was this room. The files of the plan commission concerning the proposal are public record and shall be kept available at the commission's office for inspection by interested persons. Pursuant to IC 36-7-4-605, a proposal to change the zone maps may be certified with a favorable recommendation, unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation. The legislative body shall consider the recommendation, if any, of the plan commission before acting on the proposal. Jim, do you want to go ahead and do your piece again?
Just simply no matter what you decide here today, in favor, not in favor, if you say no recommendation, it's the petitioner's burden. They have to prepare the ordinance. It would go before the Board of Commissioners. The Plan Commission will prepare whatever decision that you make tonight, favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation. That's the certification part. The petitioner then presents an ordinance to the auditor, and the earliest that this could go on the date is February 21st. Now, in saying that, it does not have to go on the February 21st. That's the first available date. I would just point out that there would be a number of people who want to speak on that. It's my understanding that there is the jail proposal feasibility study is on the agenda. I would anticipate a number of people will be coming to that. You already have one proposal on the 21st, so it's still fine to keep it up. Perhaps some may not want to be there until 11:30 or midnight on that particular night, so there may be a consideration if with all parties move that to one of the March hearing dates.
All right, so that being said, we will take anyone that wants to voice or be heard in support of this proposal. Support?
I'm just showing you some information.
All right, so no one in support. All right, now we will hear from anyone that is against this proposal. So.
I don't know if I'm against it, I just want to show you.
State your name first.
My name's Dan Drake.
Okay.
I live in Lot 5.
Lot 5.
Now, this is before any of the project was built. This is water when we had a big rain now. We had that 6-8 inch rain. Now, the water goes away, that's that sinkhole we're talking about. Now, the water's gone an inch in a day and a half. Okay?
Okay.
Now, Kevin has done some work on the top side and put a ditch in to relieve some of that. With some of the engineering work being done, that's what I want to see. I want to see that we don't get no more of it. I'm not against the project, I just want to see this done right.
I understand that.
And you see all the water that I've got. Huh? I'm
I
sorry.
think Mike lives out there, so he's.
Now, there's been 3 of these incidents, and that's the biggest one. And I go, I'm out there and I go, what the hell is going on here, you know?
Here's this, guys, can we, once you guys get done with that.
Now, you know, it goes away, I know it, and all the water's gotta come toward me, I understand that. I just don't want, and he's done some things to keep some things going. I think, in most part, I think he's trying to do that. I'd like to see the engineering thing, to do things to lots to the south, I guess that's what I'm talking about. I just don't wanna see any more water run towards us.
Just so that the rest of the board knows, when you say lot 5, you're over at phase 2, back in.
I'm in one of the 13
All of
houses.
us are involved.
Yes, yeah, you're in phase 2.
Yeah.
Now, there's Concord Road.
Hold on.
And that,
Foster Farms Road or whatever it is.
yeah, what Kevin's wanting, that slopes back towards
Yeah.
your house.
So,
I'm just showing you
Foster
information.
Farms comes in there and you guys are the one along the Foster Farms Road, right?
Yeah. there's
Everybody
lots-
that's here?
Yeah, there's-
Cause I've been in there when that road had water setting on it.
yeah.
Is
Well,
that
I'm just showing you this. Now, it does disappear, and I think he's making an effort on the north end and doing, or on the east, I should say, he's put some ditches in to control it. He may have, but you're saying he can't build any houses on them,
I don't know.
because of power lines in it, maybe.
Right, well, you're right, so,
But I think he's already come to somewhat of that conclusion. I'm just showing you information what I.
right, no, that's fine.
And if you do some sort of I should say, engineering work, see what's gonna happen, I'd like to see that, and I think that's what we're going at.
Well, and anybody that's been in the meetings that I've been in charge of, I'll say that being good neighbors goes a long way on all of this.
Sure it does.
And I don't think Kevin's got a problem with that, I know Kevin. And if we do a water study, and I think we need to, Kevin, on this one, and use the engineer's, recommendations.
Because I didn't even know that was there.
Just like we did on the Hobbs property.
Right,
you know.
I understand that.
And, there again, some of this is already down the road a little further than Mr. Hobbs is. We told him the water mitigation was the first thing, and that's what he's gonna do.
But it dries up in a
Right,
hurry.
so, okay. So it sounds like to me, as long as we take care of the water, you're good.
Take care of the water, I mean, it runs toward that sinkhole, I know it does, I mean, it's gotta go.
Well, I mean, that's what the sinkhole did at one time before there was anything out there. I'm sure it was collectible.
There's two sinkholes.
Yeah.
There's one on behind me, and then there's one somewhere over.
Right, there's a couple right as you come in there.
Yeah, so hey, I just wanted to show you that.
Okay, well, appreciate that.
It takes a hell of a rain to get it there.
All right, who's next? Yes, sir.
John Beck. I think everybody out there needs a set of plans on everything, see what's really gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. I mean, from the dirt work to finished roads. You know, there's an issue right now with one road coming in right back to somebody's house. Nobody wants that. You
Where's
know,
that at, sir?
Follow the green line down.
The green or?
The dark green one, the road.
oh, this one.
Yeah.
Go down.
And that's kind of getting taken care of, right up there where it turns.
Mm-hmm.
At the 90 degree.
Yeah, well, it's right there at that 90 degree, the people are gonna come down that hill, and their headlights are right in your backyard, right back of your house.
That's right in our backyard.
Is there gonna be any more roads built out there, and where at? Cause I don't want one on mine. You know, that's why we all need to know what's really gonna happen out here. I've never seen a set of plans on anything. How many houses? Nothing. And now, he has done a good job on trying to do the roads, give him credit. But we don't need no more issues like that. I don't know anybody wants a car coming down a hill with their headlights right in your backyard, right there in your bedroom or your kitchen.
dangerous.
And you see what I'm saying? So that's all I'm asking for. I wanna know where all the roads are gonna be and how many houses. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's an easement through there, correct?
That's the topic that's being discussed right now with Kevin and some other people. The easement, here's the thing about the easement, it was 20 foot, then it got to 50 foot, then it got to 70 foot. And nothing's been changed in all these years. It started out at 20, it's rolling metal 1. Rolling metal's 2, and then it's 50, and then when we started buying out there, it's 75. But none of these have been changed, none. You're not gonna move that power line for an easement.
No.
That power line is not gonna move.
Nope.
You can't come any further north because it gets in the sinkhole. So you're gonna come in like this and go straight up to the hill and then back around. The whole easement deal, whoever started this however many years ago, must have been sleeping. Because that's not gonna change.
I'm not seeing a way that we can eliminate the turn here. And I'd have to go out there and, I mean, but the easement has, you have to follow the
Well,
easement.
he followed the easement
Okay.
from the original deal. He did.
Okay.
Okay, that's on
Yes.
that end. I'm talking about the other end too. I wanna know if there's any more roads gonna come in on that other end. Cause I don't want a road.
Meaning up that way?
Yeah, out towards the south, towards Mount Carmel. I know he's gonna end up building another road. It's gonna go down, turn back to the east and then come back south, you know, so he can make a loop on the north end of the housing district. That's a given fact. How many houses are we gonna build on the south end off Mount Carmel? And there's gonna be a road coming in, the headlights heading in the back of my kitchen and my bedroom. That's what I wanna know. And I think everybody ought to have a plan on exactly what's gonna happen.
But Norm, correct me if I'm wrong, all we're doing today is changing the
Yeah.
zoning.
Yeah.
Right.
I have no problem going.
Yeah, and we wanna hear you because that's why we're here. That's why we have these meetings.
I have no problem with that. I'm all for the housing.
But yeah, at the end of the day.
There ought to be steps.
Right.
Everything.
Well, and by his own admission, his plans are not done yet. Excuse me? I didn't say.
I vote to keep the corn.
Keep the corn.
At least people could eat.
And then, you know, as far as the water goes, we get it too. I mean, everything from that road he built up there by phase one, it all slopes downhill. We all understand that.
Yeah, the land he's talking about sets up higher than Foster Farms, so all that water comes down into our backyard.
I mean, I've seen the sinkhole behind the father-in-law's house 3 years now. It just fills right up, man. I mean,
And onto our property.
yeah.
But it disappeared, I understand.
Well, I mean, obviously, that's a watershed.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we didn't know when we got it.
You can't fix it.
No, there's no way to fix it. You know, Greg and I and Mr. Hobbs, we've been out there on Concord, which is another place where it feeds into. There's a lot of water goes down through there.
Harvey Street, it's all caverns down through there. It's all, that's what all that area is.
We just wanna know what's really gonna happen.
Right.
I
So,
know this isn't the time, but at least it's being brought up.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, but it's good to get it on record so that everybody knows. So, if you're done, I will move on to.
Thank you.
All right. So anyone else? Yes, sir.
Steve Beaumont, I live on Concord Road. Mr. Hobbs is building houses, back here on a section behind my property. When he started, I come in and talked to Ms. Zimmerman about him putting homes back there. She said it had already been pre-approved, that, I never received a letter in the mail about this addition being put in back there. I don't know,
It's
north,
7 homes going in back there.
north from that.
It's the north part. Yeah, it's this north.
Kevin Cooper.
And not me,
Yeah, it's this
it's not
part.
what's right behind me.
He's right here.
And that's
Okay.
rolling
Further
down
north,
phase
yeah.
2. which
Yeah,
I never
this,
seen.
that subdivision was approved in 2007. And then the plat was actually recorded in 2007 to approve that as a subdivision, which was prior to all of us, so. Then the plat was changed in 2010, but it was an approved subdivision by the county in 2007.
Okay, so I understand that it's already been approved, he's putting the homes in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's 7.
13.
Well, he's putting in, not you.
Yeah, right.
For myself.
Right. So there's 7 houses coming on back through there behind me. They've started at least 5 of them, correct?
4.
I've started 4 houses.
Yeah. He started 4, he's got some of them almost finished, some not finished, some not started. That's fine. He's coming in here wanting to rezone this other land to get started on it. My thing is I think it shouldn't be approved for him to rezone this other property till he gets these other homes finished and done, and the drainage put in, that we see what's gonna happen back there. I have no problems with what he's been doing. I just we're going at some of this stuff so fast, it's just unbelievable. I get up in the morning and go back, there's somebody back there every day. They're not stopping, they're building a home every day, they're pounding, they're banging. That's my problem, not you guys, but I'm living with it. 38 years ago, there was nothing out there but farms and fields. We know that no farmer wants land flooded. So basically, all the land out there is made to flow away from it. So when you guys are putting in all these housing additions, somebody's gonna get flooded out eventually. Whether it's gonna be me, McCormick Creek State Park, my neighbor across the road, and we're all doing this because we wanna call it economical growth. And what it's gonna end up doing to this county, as far as I can see, I've lived here for a long time, maybe not as long as some of you folks. I don't like seeing it. I'm living with it. It's a burden to me. I don't like it, but I will live with it. I haven't caused any problems with nobody, but I'm telling you, all you guys are doing by keep doing this is someday we're not gonna have, and you guys can laugh and joke at me, we're not gonna have any place to eat, we're not gonna have any food for our grandkids, but we're gonna have a lot of people sitting in homes and they don't know what to do because there's not gonna be anything to feed them. We're talking 40, 50 years down the road and we'll probably all be dead and gone, but what about the future? I moved over here 40 years ago because when I got in the paper one day, it said Sweet Owen County. It's not sweet to me anymore. People are wanting to build houses. I used to deer hunt, fish, everything on my property. Now I gotta deal with people because we're gonna put people's houses up here, we're gonna collect more taxes. Great. I gotta deal with it. You guys don't. And I'm just letting you know that's the way I feel. I've known both of these guys. I just think it's terrible that we have to have these type of meetings and that our land be turned over for more money because nobody wants to farm it anymore. No farms, no food.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna read.
That's Marcy.
I will take a motion of any kind.
I've thought a lot about it. I mean, I've had a lot to think about just prior to this meeting. I live out there in that area as well. And it is gonna grow up. And I don't know that, and he has a legitimate say, I mean, with the agricultural property, but I don't see that 12 acres being farmed. And I don't know exactly what all you can do with that. There is power lines there, there's stormwater issues there. There's a lot of things. In phase one, honestly, and phase two, they're both victims of failed planning. And I don't care, I mean, I live in phase one, so I've lived with it for 16 years, okay? So it's failed planning, and that's the way it is. So what we gotta do here, I mean, as a board, we have to look at it. If we decide that we're gonna take this thing out of agriculture and into residential, I mean, there's a lot of things that has to be looked at. We want that done right. And he has, you know, what he says, he's not against it. He wants things done right. He wants to see things, you know, done correctly. And I think that's what we are as a board. We want to see things done correctly. Not what happened in phase one, not what happened in phase two here, or what's happened in a lot of these subdivisions in this county. Because I have been all over this county, and there's a lot of subdivisions in this county that are victims of failed planning. No oversight and no accountability. So that's my say on this. And And I would make a motion to bring it out of agriculture into residential. I wanna see the word stricken out of there to connect phase 1 and 2. That has broad interpretations. And it could be well past this meeting that something happened there that wasn't intended. So I wanna see those words stricken out of the application. And I want Kevin to understand that he's gonna have to have engineers come in. He's gonna have to look at that, the stormwater, the drainage, it's a big issue, that road that you put in. I know you did that, and you put a lot of money in that. But maybe you should have had somebody look at that prior to doing that. I know why you did it, so you get back there to build back there in phase 2 because of the failed planning in phase 2. Because you couldn't take that road back in there, so you had to do something to get back there. Now, maybe in the end, you'll just have to grant those people back there an easement and have that put on their deed, I don't know. But this part of this is actually just to bring it out of agriculture into residential. He has a lot of work to do. He's gonna have to have that platted, it's gonna have to be certified by an engineer, and the infrastructure, all the flooding from stormwater, everything is gonna have to be, it's gonna have to be presented to us again before he gets final approval to build a house in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the recommendation, bring it out of residential, or out of agriculture into residential. If we can strike the word to connect phase 1 and 2, that would be part of that.
Okay. Get that? And I'd also say, Kevin, I'd love to see a water study. Well, I want to see a water study done.
Yes.
Because we have got to figure out a way to get that water somewhere other than in these folks' yard. And Mr. Beaumont, I know we had the discussion on the Hobbs property about your situation. So, and he's gonna do that pond up there, that retention pond for you, to try to take care of the Concord Road stuff that was going down through there. But we also need something done on this side to take care of that water, because no one, and I'm in one of those subdivisions, I bought it, it's me, I'm in one of those as well, where there was no oversight or very little oversight. I get what you're saying. Now you're there, you've got your money invested, and you're kind of stuck, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah, we're in the middle of both of them.
And I get it. So what our job is here tonight is just to go from agricultural residential, and we have a motion on the floor. I'm looking for a second. Second by Bob. And then to take care of this water, those are gonna have to be done, and he wants that stricken, so let's make sure that gets done in the final paperwork.
I want everyone to understand that all the things you are saying are legitimate things, and I agree with you. We just don't have the finite details of those things yet, you know. So there'll be, again, another opportunity that we're gonna look at. Because, you know, I look at this, some of that, Kevin, you got some lots you can't build on by your design here. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do with them. Being 75 foot off, the one was 193, we
Yeah,
put on this, and 75 and 75 left you 43, but there's some that were a lot shorter than that.
Assuming the easement's 20 to 75 feet, now you're almost under the power lines to get off of that road, and you gotta be 75 feet off the power lines. There's no place there.
I'd definitely be contacting them to have someone come out to your site there and look at that, to give you some guidance on that, and maybe even present that back to the board back when time comes to bring your plat.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take this to a vote, guys, so we can get this taken care of. Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a question.
Yes.
I'm trying to understand how you can make it residential if all of these things haven't been done beforehand.
All we're doing is changing the tax operation.
It's just
rezoning, right?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
He has to come back with the plans, with the water study, just like we did on the Foster Farm ones. We would look at all that, make sure the water is doing what we said it would do, and that's what the engineers are for. Make sure they're platted correctly so that we're not building under our power lines, too close to a property line, too close to an easement, all that comes later. All we're doing tonight, is agricultural to residential.
Okay.
That's it. So with that being said, I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
7-0? Okay. Let's see. All right. Next item on the agenda would be public comment. Anyone have anything else for the board tonight? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.